anyway, overall, I think two good wins for the Michigan teams. So
Yeah.
that is, I'm excited
Yeah.
about that.
No, it's a good again, even though I'm a state fan, I can at least say, like, anytime the Big Ten is doing well or anytime, like, Michigan teams are doing well, it's good for the state. It's good for the morale around here. So but because both teams played and because both teams looked so successful, it basically brought me down to this one question, which is, Scotty, because you at
Ooh,
least were able to watch some of these games, like, which of these 2 teams do you feel like has the
oof.
best chance to repeat what they did last season? John, I'll bring you up to speed because, California living over there. Um,
LA, LA, where the after party's raging in my LA town.
but, yeah, no, last year, Michigan State finished 11-2, like I said, went over, Pittsburgh in the Peach Bowl. Michigan finished 12-2, won the Big Ten, beat Ohio State, and, made it to the college football playoff. So between those 2 schools, Scotty, which one do you think has a better chance of repeating the success that they saw last year?
Oof. Pending injuries, right? It's
Always.
as we always have to acknowledge and address
Mhm.
is injuries, which Michigan State already has an injured safety and wide receiver, I believe, from game one here. Michigan State
Linebacker.
linebacker, sorry, and
Yep.
safety. Okay. Uh, oof. I think Michigan State can repeat what they've
Okay.
done. I think that you gave me a little insight into U of M's schedule, which I was not aware of. So I'm going to take your notes and say, the caveat here is Michigan has a pretty, um, I don't want to say easy schedule, but it's not like Michigan State's. So
It's not overly difficult, no.
yeah, so for them to get in a good position, set up for the playoff, right? I mean, that's Michigan. I think they're both. I think they're both set up to repeat last
Mhm.
year's success. I think they both are capable of it. I think they both can do it. I think it'll depend on injuries, like anything. So I think they
Sure.
both can do it. But I'll let you talk about Michigan's schedule strength or weakness
Y
of schedule, if you will.
well, yeah, because for me, the answer is Michigan. I think Michigan
Okay.
a more has a slightly better chance of repeating. Now, I think, like you said, like, I think they both could technically repeat the success they had last year, but I think Michigan, based off the way their schedule is set up, they don't really play currently, they don't have any other ranked teams on their schedule other than Michigan State and Ohio State. That's it. So, I in theory, it should be relatively easy for them to run the table, get near the end of the year, and as long as they can beat Michigan State and beat Ohio State, you're right back there in the playoff. Now, again, those are ifs,
Good.
right? I mean,
Right.
they didn't beat Michigan State last year, so that's obviously a toss up. And Ohio State is always a toss up. You did beat Ohio State last year, but there's probably a little bit of payback on their mind.
You don't, yeah, you
So,
don't think Ohio State's going to come back like try and
yeah,
come back on everybody this year? Ohio State's
yeah,
on a mission.
yeah. So, I mean, I think Michigan has the easier road. And the only thing that I think that could potentially, again, mess that up is obviously losses to the 2 teams that I just mentioned,
Right.
or because the college football playoff is, voter based a little bit, you could potentially have a situation where people have other teams leapfrog them because Michigan's schedule is not that difficult. And there's always that possibility that another team with a more difficult schedule jumps over them just because, hey, we like what they did better. Your records are similar, but they took the harder road.
I know, but last year wasn't that a point of contention in which Michigan State, like,
It's always a point of contention. Yeah.
that's true. Like last year, Michigan getting into the playoff was an issue, I believe, right?
Yeah, a little bit because I mean, again, they didn't play a ton of difficult teams, but they beat Ohio State and they won the Big Ten.
Right.
So it was harder to deny them. And I think that will continue to be the case. Now, again, the issue will always be, do 2 SEC teams get in just like they did last year? Alabama and Georgia both got in despite Georgia wait, yeah, I think despite Georgia beating Alabama. Um, so there's always that, concern.
Right.
But I think for this question, I'm gonna have to lean towards Michigan still, that they have a better
Okay.
chance of
Does
making
that
it to.
include the, are you including a loss in the bowl game as well with that repeat
Oh,
performance?
that Michigan loses?
Yeah.
Listen here, and this is not a shot at Michigan, this is not at all. If they have to play Georgia, if they have
Oh
to
my
play
god.
Bama, just chalk it up. Just, like, don't
Well,
even
that's why I
like.
was you well, like, yeah, that's why I was asking just because I mean, if you're talking about like their easy schedule, and then if they do get in, I mean, that seems like a recipe for disaster.
I mean, it is, but I mean, I think that's a really good conversation to have, and I would love to have it because I personally feel like for teams that are, like, ranked in the top 10, you should be trying to play as many other top 25 teams as you can, right? To, if not prove that you belong, to at least prepare your team for the level of competition. And so, again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Michigan, but I think it's a little odd that they only have currently 2 ranked teams. And obviously that can all change based off of how many wins other teams get and how many losses, but and Michigan State doesn't have that many more. We have to play Wisconsin, which Michigan doesn't. Wisconsin is currently ranked, and we have to play Michigan, and we have to play Ohio State. So we have one more than they do, but we're also not the number 4 ranked team in the country right now.
Right. John.
Preposterous.